So now I can go back and forth with this trustee. I could check her. I could tell all her flaws. I could do all of that. But y'all gonna get a different Mayor Tiffany Henyard today.
Okay, all right, we're gonna get a different Tiffany Henyard today. You know, she don't have the time to go back and forth. She's gonna take the high road. Who believes her? You guys, let me know down in the comments if you believe her. Matter of fact, let's just ask Trustee Belcher. Kiana, do you believe her? Look at Kiana's face. She is just like, she's so fed up. She's had it, okay? All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into this video. So today we're going to go back in time once again during the beginning stages of Tiffany Henyard as mayor. And we're once again going to be analyzing some of the problematic behaviors and situations that may have played a part in the Dolton Trustees' attempt to recall Tiffany Henyard. Yes, they did try to recall her. For those of you who don't know, it was not successful, and I'll leave the link to that video where I discuss that in further detail down in the description. But in this video, we're going to see some examples of the many things the trustees had to deal with in regards to Tiffany Henyard's poor leadership and bad practices. In my opinion, these are all my opinions and my breakdowns of situations I see unfold before me. Okay, I'm just gonna say that before we get started. So that being said, let's get into this first clip.
Next, we have consent agenda. First, we have letter A, consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing and approving a lease agreement between Kirby Rehabilitation Inc. and the Village of Dolton. And then letter B, consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving a certain government agency customer agreement between Flock Group Inc. and the Village of Dolton. Is there a motion and a second for this? Can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we table item A and we pass item B with the cameras, and then table the lease agreement.
So you guys, just to put in perspective of what's going on and what she's trying to get past, okay? Tiffany is trying to get the board to approve a rehabilitation center in Dolton. So we're going to hear from Trustee Ed Steves about what he wants to vote on right now and what he wants to table for later discussion.
We pass item B with the cameras, and then table the lease agreement.
Okay, so for the record, just so you guys know, you guys already approved this in the consent agenda. I'm just putting it on the agenda so that we can get an actual vote here at the board meeting. Just so you know, that company is already in the building. So if you guys don't want to do approval via this way, it's already has been approved. So that's for letter A.
So you guys, what she's basically saying when she's talking about they already voted through consent agenda is that they already voted through email. So she's saying that all the trustees said they were on board with it by voting through email. But one of the commenters from the live chat made a very good point. They mentioned that them voting by email is a violation of the Open Meetings Act and that all their votes should be done before the residents. Which I totally agree. I mean, they are talking about spending the taxpayers' dollars on a facility that's going to directly affect the residents who are the taxpayers. So yeah, this is a good example of poor leadership, but it could also be an early sign of the underhanded nature of Tiffany Henyard's dealings, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and continue.
Excuse me, Mayor. Can I be recognized?
Yes, one second. Let me finish my statement. As it relates to B, flock safety, you did the same thing. That's why I say consent agenda. When I say consent agenda, that means that majority voted for these items. And currently now I'm just seeking that we put it up for the public knowledge and they know that we all approved these items through an email vote. So that's the reason for this. If you guys want to table, you can, but just know that the company has already been approved and already is in the building. Does that answer your question, Trustee Steve?
So you guys, this is just not right. This is not the way to conduct business. This is not the way to use the taxpayers' dollars. And I don't think the trustees should have voted through email. I'm pretty sure this was Tiffany's idea to just go ahead and, hurry up and vote stuff in and get stuff started. As you can see, she said they've already started. They're in the building already. So it's kind of like doing stuff and then after the fact, asking for approval, which we see a lot of that nowadays, and we see it happening over and over again. And that's why there's this constant back and forth when they get to the board meetings, because things are not discussed properly. There is no open lines of communication. So you guys, let's go ahead and continue.
Did you want to amend that, or you still want to leave it as a table?
Well, let me ask the attorneys.
Okay, sure.
It's pretty much they being at its pass through email. There's pretty much nothing we can do as far as tabling that. If we want to add anything to it or ask more questions about it.
Right, from the last board meeting, that's why we was trying to get it approved, and everybody agreed that they would do the consent agenda. So during the consent agenda, everybody weighed in whether it was a yay or nay.
I believe he asked for the attorney to speak, not you, Tiffany. She's always talking about Robert Rules of Order, Robert, She always talking about that. So let's go ahead and listen to what the attorney has to say.
As far as like Trustee Steve, your question, the board was polled previously and indicated that everyone was on board. And so based upon that, we were seeking ratification of that action here formally.
So we're basically getting approval after the fact, just like we did with the inauguration money, because that's what we do. We just want to spend money. We do what we want, and then we'll get your little board approval afterwards. Like, whatever, it is what it is. You guys, you get the point. But someone else had an issue about this, and that is Trustee Tammy Brown. Let's listen to her thoughts and her side about this whole voting through email fiasco.
Okay, this is Trustee Brown. It says consent for approval of board item 4, Flock Group Incorporated contract for public safety cameras. That's what it says. Now, am I reading something incorrectly? It says, trustees, please provide consent for this purchase of public safety cameras for Flock Group Incorporated to help police department with solving crimes committed in Dolton. It didn't say anything about the building for the mental health facility.
So from what Trustee Tammy Brown is saying, she voted on the police cameras, but she said there was nothing in there about this little rehabilitation center, mental health center that Tiffany's talking about. Meanwhile, over in Tiffany land, we know there's a different story. So let's hear what Tiffany has to say.
I must be reading something incorrectly.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, trustee. So basically, y'all have 3 or 6 different emails. So Clerk Brown sent it out the night that you guys didn't show up to the meeting. We basically sent the email to every board member, and you all have weighed in separately to each email. So if you go through your emails, you'll see both of these items via email, and then what the vote count was via email.
So first of all, she can't decide if she sent out 3 or 6 different emails. It's just a lot of like random talk. And it's not just coming out as a straight answer. And it sounds like this whole voting through email thing should have never been done. And it's getting confusing. And the trustees are obviously not confident on this vote. But like usual, Tiffany is putting the pressure on, trying to get them to just go ahead and vote yes. Don't ask any questions. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Okay? Or the woman behind the curtain. All right, you guys, let's continue.
So that's why, again, it's in consent agenda, because we had majority votes for both items. And again, I'm just putting it up for clarity for the residents, being transparent and showing you guys that, okay, we voted through email and this was the end result.
Okay, so who all voted? I voted yes for the cameras. I voted no for the contract. So can we have a breakdown of who voted what?
Yeah, let me pull it up on my email. I don't have it in front of me to tell you who voted. Yeah, even if you didn't vote there, you still have to vote here in the open. So if it's a no, you don't want them, say no. If it's yes, then say yes. And if you undecided, say you're undecided.
Okay, so we're going to give her a little time to look for those votes and whatnot. But then at the same time, she's saying, we're just doing this for the public to be transparent, but you still have to vote here. So if you want to vote yes, vote yes. If you want to vote no, vote no. But you've already had them start the process. So does it even really matter what they vote now? You've already given it the go ahead. You see, it's just ridiculous, you guys. It doesn't make any sense. Let's go ahead and continue and see if she found those votes yet.
Let's see. So let me find, because I'm going to read it into record. So if you guys give me 2 minutes.
I have a question for Attorney Welch, Mayor, if I could be recognized.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me find this so I can read into record, then I can address you. I'm back. I finally found it. It's a lot of emails. So the people that voted yes for Old Village Hall for them to go into the building was Trustee Belcher, Trustee Holmes, and Trustee House. And I broke tie, where it was 3. And I was the 4th vote. So that's how we are where we are now.
And that's why we're in the hot mess situation that we are now. That's basically what she should have said. All right, so now we have Trustee Kiana Belcher, and she has something to say about her vote.
So when everybody's saying they didn't vote for it, did vote for it, those are the votes.
Mayor.
Okay, yes. Go ahead, Trustee.
I sent the email when I asked questions that nobody responded, and Village Administrator Dorothy Brown was on there, and all of the other trustees saying that I rescinded my vote. Do you not have that email?
Okay, so you sent that when? The day after. So you voted for it that day. And when everybody voted for whatever they voted for, same with flock safety, we told everybody that they had the votes and we moved forward.
Okay, so let's make sure I got this straight. She's saying she voted one way, but then Kiana saying she wanted to rescind her vote, and she did send an email. But Tiffany's saying, pretty much no, that's set in stone. You already voted. But then Tiffany also just said a little earlier that, hey, we're voting tonight, so you can vote yes or you can vote no.
Even if you didn't vote there, you still have to vote here in the open. So if it's a no, you don't want them, say no. If it's yes, then say yes. And if you undecided, say you're undecided.
So which is it? See how confusing this is getting? Let's go ahead and continue.
So then you rescind your vote the next day. We cannot, and I repeat, for any trustees, play games like that. That's why we really should not do consent agenda, which I agree with the attorneys. They said we shouldn't because you guys go up and down. You can't. I don't even get what's the problem. All your questions that you did ask was answered.
When were they answered, Mayor?
Hold on, let me finish, trustee. As relates to they have insurance, the building's up to code, because the other trustees asked me the same questions. So I've been answering them questions left to right. So there's no problem with the building or the people going inside the building. And from my understanding, the majority of you did speak with the person that's going inside the building, who is Sam. So now here we are. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I'd rather call the roll. If you're going to vote for it,
you cannot call the roll because I was in the middle of a conversation.
Hold on.
That's rude. I'm asking
point of order. Point of order, trustee.
You don't have no order. That's rude.
Point of order. Yeah, you out of order. Point of order.
See, here we go. And you know why this is happening? Because Tiffany is gaslighting Kiana. She's not allowing her to ask questions. She's telling Kiana what information she received instead of listening, like a good leader should. A good leader would listen and then just ask her what her questions are. But something tells me Tiffany doesn't want real discussions about these things that she's trying to pass and these things that she's trying to get them to just vote yes on without asking real questions. It's one thing to send a question through an email and get like a generic answer. It's another thing for you guys to discuss it at a board meeting through and through, and for the person who wants it to happen, which is Tiffany, to actually explain the process and explain who's doing what. But that's not what she wants to do. She wants to gloss over everything like she usually does, and she wants the trustees to just fall in line, follow suit. Okay, let's continue.
Stop
back
always
to the
barking.
original conversation, Mayor.
Trustee.
Because I was
talking right. Did I know how to pull up? Let me let you finish. Right. Go ahead.
That was the issue. I asked, I be recognized. Of course, you cut me off and didn't let me finish. You made your statement that I voted. Then you started talking about I was playing games. That's the reason where we at right now. For one, we shouldn't have had consent to vote like how the attorneys are saying. It shouldn't be going over email. I have questions. Questions are never answered. I've sent several emails. You done told your staff and everybody else don't answer our emails. We don't have an attorney that we can trust and get valid questions answered. So when I sent the email, I sent it to everybody so they can see, and I knew this would come about. That's why I was shaking my head. I don't care one way or another. The issue is that we cannot trust you because of the fact that when we have questions to ask, you talking about everybody ask questions and send. When did you answer any questions that I sent an email? When have they been answered? They have not been answered.
See, Kiana's gonna tell her like it is, and she gonna give her the business every time. See, that's the thing about Kiana that I respect and a lot of people respect. She's not just gonna let Tiffany slide on these sly little things she be trying to do, because we know what's going on. We can see right through it. So you guys, this type of behavior from Tiffany has been going on since day one. And that's why I like to display, these old board meetings just to show people, there's people out there that are Team Tiffany who feel like, she wasn't given a fair shot from the beginning. No, she flip-flopped from the beginning. That was the problem. And that's the problem the trustees had, because Tiffany always likes to remind them that, they ran on her team and all this other stuff. But Tiffany needs to remind herself that she ran on transparency and that she promised the residents that they were going to come first. But if you fast forward to nowadays, that doesn't seem to be the case. She doesn't address the residents at the meetings. They come up, they voice their concerns. All she has to say to them is next. And you can see that in, one of the most recent board meetings, actually, where even the firefighters feel like they're getting the raw end of the deal. And I did make a video about that. This last video I made, you guys can check that out after this and just get a little bit up to date on the shenanigans, okay? All the time with her. It's the same thing from day one, as you guys can see from this video. And I will be making more just to show you guys how this all began a long time ago. And unfortunately, the residents of Dolton still have to deal with it to this day because the elections are not coming soon enough. All right, you guys. Well, that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.
The issue is you got to respect people. You are inconsiderate, you're rude, and if we had an attorney that actually would respond to us, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now I can go back and forth with this trustee. I could check her. I could tell all the flaws. I could do all of that. But y'all gonna get a different Mayor Tiffany Henyard today. But I'm not gonna stoop to trustee Belcher's level.